Welcome to our daily reflection for this Saturday, February 8th. And there's a beautiful thread interwoven into all the readings today. So that thread is that Jesus is the Good Shepherd. We'll have in the middle kind of a bridge between our readings, Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, which is so beautiful. And then we'll hear Jesus in the gospel taking the disciples away for a break, a little retreat from the crowds. But then the crowds follow and are, eager to not lose Jesus, as we should be as well. And then when Jesus sees them, he has compassion on them because they are like sheep without a shepherd. And so we see Jesus' compassionate heart, willing to feed and take care of the crowds like a shepherd. And then, of course, we hear about that God is the great shepherd. Jesus is the great shepherd. In our first reading in the epistle to the Hebrews, which we'll talk about, may the God of peace, who brought up from the dead the great shepherd of the sheep, right? So Jesus is the great shepherd, raised by the Father, so that by his blood we have the eternal covenant, and that he can furnish all that is good for us, that we'll have everything we need if we ask that good shepherd, who earlier in the letter is called the high priest, who intercedes for us. And so he's a high priest who acts as a good shepherd, and he will provide for us all that we need. And that gives us great consolation. So let's reflect on God as your shepherd today in meditation, that he is your good shepherd. And do you trust him and entrust yourself to him and to his care because he's compassionate of heart? And then in response to that, it says, through Jesus, let us continually offer to God, that is God the Father, a sacrifice of praise. And there's two sacrifices we're called here to offer to God the Father in thanksgiving for Jesus, his Son. A sacrifice of praise. So we are to do that with lips that confess his name. So that worship, basically. And the next thing is, do not neglect to do good and to share what you have. For God is pleased by sacrifices of that kind. And so that's the second sacrifice we've made, good works. So worship and works of charity. Those are the two ways we make a sacrifice to God. And so let's reflect on that sacrifice. Do I worship God in my daily prayer? Do I give him praise and thanksgiving? And one of the things I think is such a great thing to do in your daily prayer is to begin your daily prayer with 3 things you're thankful for over the last day, the last 24 hours. That's a sacrifice of praise. What are the 3 things that God has done for you that you're especially thankful for? That's a sacrifice of praise. And then that leads us to do good things to others when we reflect on what God has done for us in charity. And so then we are to make a practical resolution at the end of our prayer time for a good deed we're going to do for someone during this day. And so if we live that out, we'll be living out this great formula for giving praise to the Father and the 2 kinds of sacrifice, the sacrifice of thanksgiving and praise, and the sacrifice of good works and deeds of charity for others. So love of God, love of others. This is the twofold command. And so it's boiled into this beautiful reflection here. And to remember that Jesus is our good shepherd and we can entrust ourselves to him. May the Lord bless and keep you.
This daily reflection is brought to you thanks to the generous support of the Mission Circle. Join the Mission Circle to help Catholics worldwide understand, live, and share their faith. Sign up at missioncircle.org today.